Today we have a look at mask recommendations, Dollywood offering free college, fast food prices on the rise, and much more.
We have today's weather forecast with Madison and a look at sports with Eli.
Today is Thursday, February 10th, 2022.
We are live from Shroyer Studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School, and you are watching VOX News Today.
Welcome back. I'm Alex Wingard.
And I'm Amber Filiov.
Britain's Prince Charles has tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement on Twitter, Clarence House says he is self-isolating. The heir to the British throne previously had coronavirus in March 2020. At the time, the 71-year-old had mild symptoms. It's unclear if he has any symptoms this time around.
3 workers were rescued from a trench after a partial collapse at a construction site at an Intel campus in Chandler, Arizona Wednesday. It's a suburb southeast of Phoenix. A crane and basket was used to pull them out of the deep trench at the massive construction site. Fire officials say they were taken to a hospital with injuries that are not life-threatening and are in stable condition. There's no word yet on the cause of the collapse.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has released new rules for the cruise industry. These rules regard different tiers of vaccination. There is vaccination standard of excellence, highly vaccinated, and not highly vaccinated levels. These levels are in regards to the number of crewmates and passengers that are or are not vaccinated. The CDC is giving cruise lines until February 18th to opt into the new rule and share their vaccination statuses.
Bradley County School Director Dr. Linda Cash will interview for the Knox County Director of School position next week. Dr. Cash told 104.1 Steve Hartline that she was contacted by the search form for the Knox County school system, but that she was also open with the Bradley County Board of Education about the entire situation. Dr. Cash told Hartline that she and her family are praying for the Lord's will in this process. The Knox County school system is expected to announce their choice for the new director of schools by the end of this month. The Knox County Board of Education announced the 3 finalists for the superintendent position: Dr. Linda Cash, Director of Schools, Bradley County Schools; Dr. John Ricewick, KCS Assistant Superintendent Chief Academic Officer; Mr. Kirk Schrum, Chief School Leadership Officer of Henry Schools in McDonough, Georgia. The board has agreed to offer a base salary of $250,000 for the next leader of the system that consists of 60,000 students. KCS is the 3rd largest public system in the state.
Australia's definition of being fully vaccinated is set to change, with the county's technical advisory group on immunization recommending that everyone aged 16 and older receive a booster dose 3 months after their primary course to maintain the best protection in an up-to-date status. Under the advice, a person is considered up-to-date if they have completed all the doses recommended for their age and individual health needs. A media release from Australia's Ministry for Health and Aged Care read, the new terminology replaces the fully vaccinated status, which applied to anyone who has had 2 doses of the vaccine. The experts also advise that if it has been longer than 6 months since the person's primary course and they haven't had a booster, they will no longer be considered up to date and instead will be considered overdue. ATAGI noted that the new advice is provided for the management of the COVID-19 pandemic here in Australia and does not cover the vaccination requirements relating to international border settings.
The Senate appears likely to pass one of the largest workplace reforms in decades. The Ending Forced Arbitration of Sexual Assault and Sexual Harassment Act does exactly what it says. It forbids employers from forcing workers with sexual misconduct claims into arbitration. Instead, the measure permits them to file lawsuits. Right now, about 60 million workers are bound by contractual clauses that prevent them from suing for such claims. They disproportionately impact the low-wage fields and women of color. The bill passed the House with a sweeping bipartisan majority of 335 to 97 earlier in the week. It is expected to pass the Senate with a similar approval rate. The measure was first introduced in 2017 amid the Me Too movement.
Disney Plus gained 12 million subscribers last quarter. This boost in support allowed for Disney stock to skyrocket 9%. Disney Plus now has close to 130 million subscribers. Analysts are shocked as the numbers are higher than they expected and are raised 12 million more than the previous quarter. In the fourth quarter, only 2 million subscribers were added to the streaming. The increase helped the company double its profits from last year, where it made $1 billion in the first quarter.
May 25th, 2022 is the confirmed release date for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series to make an appearance. The film stars from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, are reprising their iconic roles 17 years later. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are returning as Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and his apprentice Anakin Skywalker, who turned to the dark side and became Darth Vader. The series will pick up where it left off in the previous decade.
From the Super Bowl to the grocery aisle, pandemic problems just keep coming. Some of the latest issues aren't just about the virus. They're the result of disagreements over how to handle it. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are dropping overall in the U.S., but our pandemic problems aren't over just yet. You know those convoys disrupting travel between the U.S. and Canada? Truckers might be planning one around the Super Bowl. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security. Truckers and other protesters in Ottawa, Canada say they're stopping traffic there. To stop vaccination requirements and COVID restrictions, the convoys threaten to worsen supply chain issues. Already, the pandemic has led to problems with supplies and higher prices. Goldman Sachs predicts grocery bills will remain high all year. Even Super Bowl snacks cost more right now. Meanwhile, states like New York are trying to get back to normal.
Several media reports say the Oscars will not require proof of COVID vaccination to attend this year's awards ceremony. Instead, vaccination is suggested and a negative COVID test will be required. The Academy Awards will be held March 27th at the Dolby Theater. The Academy lowered the audience size for last year's ceremony and had strict testing and masking policies. COVID vaccines have since become widely available. The Academy has not yet publicly released its pandemic policy for this year's ceremony and has not commented on the reports.
And now let's check on our weather. Madison, what can you tell us?
We just had a 1.8 earthquake in Ridgely, Tennessee, which is just north of Memphis. This is following a recent 1.8 earthquake in Athens, Tennessee this week. Today began with temperatures in the mid-20s, but we will warm up this afternoon with sunshine all day. All of that and more right after this break.
Wow, college already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
sounds awful. Seriously, awful.
But a lot better than last week.
We weren't born to follow.
Final round. Fight.
Welcome back. I'm Madison Johnston with your weather. Today's earthquake in Ridgely, Tennessee was the largest they had on record. In the past 30 days, Ridgely had 4 earthquakes of a magnitude 2.0 or above. There were also 6 quakes below magnitude 2.0, which people don't normally feel. Watch out for the ground rumble and do not tumble. And now let's look at our weather at a glance. Right now it is 29 degrees and the high today is 61 with a low of 31. Precipitation is 1% and the wind is 2 miles per hour. The humidity right now is 94% and the dew point is 27 degrees. Pressure is 30.14 inches, visibility is 9 miles, and the UV index is 0 out of 10. And now let's look at our local radar. Right now in Cleveland there's nothing in the area. And now let's look at our national radar. There are scattered showers in Oklahoma City and ice and snowstorms in the north and also at the Canadian border. And now let's look at our 7-day weather. Today will be a high of 66 and a low of 41 with sunny skies. Saturday will be partly cloudy with a high of 57 with a low of 28. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a high of 57 and a low of 28. Monday will be sunny with a high of 48 and a low of 22. Tuesday will be sunny skies with a high of 56 and a low of 32. Wednesday will be partly cloudy with a high of 60 and a low of 47. And Thursday we will have scattered showers with a high of 64 and a low of 45. That's all I have for weather. And now here is Eli with your sports.
If you missed the men's Mox basketball game or some more Olympics, we will have coverage on that and more after this break.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Are you kidding?
Your proposal's ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
Oh,
That's the power of one.
Civility. Pass it on.
One grain of sand can turn the tide.
I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike one. too. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike three. Wow! I'm the greatest pitcher in the world!
Optimism. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. I'm Eli Dunn with your sports. The Washington Commanders hired a private firm to investigate new allegations made against team owner Dan Snyder. Last week, former cheerleaders and employees of the professional football team made accusations against Snyder, including a claim of unwanted sexual touching. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said Wednesday an outside review is the right thing to do. The NFL has already performed a year-long investigation into the team's work environment. It fined Snyder $10 million, says he is to blame for the club's unprofessional culture. An Indiana bill that was banned transgender girls from competing in girls' school sports fueled strong debate Wednesday. The proposal would apply to grades K through 12 in private and public schools in the state. Transgender rights supporters gathered at the State House to urge lawmakers to stop the bill, which cleared the House last month. A Senate committee heard testimony during the nearly 3-hour meeting, and no votes were taken Wednesday. If you cannot be at the Super Bowl, watching at home or on the big screen TV might be the next best thing. Black Friday tends to buy more TV hype, but experts say Super Bowl can also be a great time of year for deals on screen televisions in today's consumer watch. Why experts say if you're looking to buy a new TV, you could see some of the biggest price drops of the year over the next week. Chattanooga Mocs men's basketball team wins 65-47 over West Carolina Wednesday. The Chattanooga Mocs men's basketball team earned its third straight victory behind the 65-47 tally against Western Carolina on Wednesday night in Southern Conference action inside McKenzie Arena. The Mocs redeemed themselves after a loss to Western Carolina earlier this season with a stout defensive effort. Following the win, Chattanooga improves to 21-5 overall and remains atop the SoCon standings at 11-2. Strong finish sends Vols over Mississippi State 72-63. Josiah Jordan James and Kennedy Chandler each scored 18 points, and number 19 Tennessee outscored Mississippi State 11-2. In the final 3 minutes for a 72-63 victory on Wednesday night. The second half went back and forth and was tied at 61 before the Volunteers 17-6, 8-3 Southeastern Conference closed strong for their sixth consecutive league victory. Zakai Ziegler iced the win by making all 4 free throws in the closing seconds to finish with 11 points, along with Santiago Vescovi. Tonight's rivalry game is Bradley versus Cleveland for the second time this season. Bradley got a 4-game sweep, including JV games earlier this season. The difference tonight is it's at Cleveland High School instead of Bradley, so we need all of the students to show up for this huge rivalry game. And here is the 2022 Winter Olympics medal count. And for the top 3, number 1, Norway, sitting at 5 gold, 3 silver, 4 bronze. Number 2, Germany, sitting at 5 gold, 3 silver, and 0 bronze. And number 3, the USA, sitting at 4 gold, 5 silver, and 1 bronze. That is all I have for sports. Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
CRCC to me is a calling that God placed on my life to really step out in faith on something that I didn't think I could do, and it's been amazing to see how God's worked through it.
CRCC stands for Crossroads Community Church, but we're a church that our vision is to be a life-giving church in our community. We do that through helping people know God, find freedom, discover their purpose, and then go make a difference. And so that's what we're doing every week, is helping people discover their jam and go make a difference.
I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do? Dude, kiss your life goodbye.
Let's go. Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
Keep smiling, keep shining. No,
Hi.
you can't.
Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. I'll come with you.
Oh, that's what brings our fun.
Welcome back.
After several busy days of diplomacy to avert armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine, CNN's Melissa Bell reports on a critical factor that can affect any prospect of a ground war in the region: the weather. Across much of Ukraine, it's been a light winter. Still many snow, but much of it turning to slush. The Sea of Azov less icy than normal for the beginning of February. According to the latest data, temperatures are running between 1 and 3 degrees Celsius higher than the 30-year average.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has issued an endangered child alert for Austin George Smith from Gainesboro, Tennessee. The TBI says that Austin is a 17-year-old who was last seen wearing a black or red hoodie with Class of 2022 written on it. He has black hair and brown eyes. Officials believe that he could have traveled to Kentucky. Austin has a no medical condition. If you have seen Austin, please call at 931-268-0180 or 1-800-TBI-FIND.
A 42-year-old man now faces charges in the death of 36-year-old Jarvis Brooks, according to Catoosa County Sheriff Gary Sisk. He says a fight broke out at the party. Deputies responded to a shots fired call at about 4:30 a.m. That's when officers found Brooks dead in his car. Eddie Ellis is charged with murder, trafficking cocaine, possession of Schedule II narcotics, possession of a firearm by convicted felon, tampering with evidence, reckless conduct, discharge of a firearm near a roadway, commercial gambling, sale of alcohol without a license, and possession of marijuana.
A Dallas police officer and a former officer are facing charges accusing them of using excessive force during George Floyd protests in May 2020. The district attorney's office has issued multiple arrest warrants for Senior Corporal Ryan Mabry and former Senior Corporal Melvin Williams. Williams was fired over an unrelated excessive force accusation. They're accused of using what are called less lethal projectiles, which together injured several protesters. One man lost an eye and 7 teeth. The projectiles were fired from 40mm launchers. Their attorneys say they will turn themselves in.
An 18-year-old is accused of using several underage kids. Brittany Hess, who has a son who attends school in Layton. Layton police says this all started after a 15-year-old boy reported being assaulted by Kilpatrick and other people who were with him at Greyhawk Park. Layton Police Lieutenant Lyman says they learned that he was using about 4 or 5 minors, as young as 13-year-olds, to sell drugs for him. Kilpatrick was arrested and booked in the Davis County Jail on Monday. A 17-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl were also arrested and booked into juvenile detention. As for parents like Hess, she's hopeful something can be done so this doesn't happen again.
A man drowned Tuesday while attempting to launch a boat into the Elridge Road, Elridge Slough on Chickamauga Lake. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency says the man, along with another man, were trying to launch the fishing boat when the boat slid off the trailer at the boat ramp. The 42-year-old man from Bradley County went into the water to retrieve the boat and struggled before going under the water. Bystanders called 911. The man's body was taken to the medical examiner's office. The incident remains under investigation.
President Joe Biden tweets a photo from his meeting with Billie Eilish. Per a White House spokesperson, Billie Eilish, Phineas, and their parents Maggie and Patrick were invited to pay a visit to the White House today to meet President Biden. Billie and Phineas were supporters during Biden's campaign, and the Biden family have been longtime fans of their music. Billie is in D.C. for her world tour, playing at the Capital One Arena tonight.
A group says the Minneapolis police officer who shot and killed Amir Locke should lose his license to be a peace officer. They sent their message through a rally through the headquarters of the Minnesota Board of Peace Officer Standards and Training in St. Paul. Officer Mark Hanneman shot and killed Locke in a downtown apartment last week, while a SWAT team executed a no-knock warrant.
A Colorado woman accused of profiting off the fake illnesses of her young daughter before the girl's death in 2017 has been sentenced to 16 years in prison. Kelly Turner pleaded guilty to felony theft, felony charity fraud, and child abuse, negligently causing death. She was previously charged with murder in the death of 7-year-old Olivia Gant and pleaded not guilty. The 16-year sentence is part of a plea deal. The judge at Wednesday's sentencing said Turner will not be allowed to profit from anything related to the case, and any compensation she receives must be donated to the charities she defrauded. Olivia's mother claimed she had cancer and various ailments. Experts say it was a case of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, where caregivers subject the child to medical treatment to obtain attention for themselves. Turner's defense attorney denied that is the case.
A Dallas police officer and a former officer are facing charges accusing them of using excessive forces during George Floyd protests in May 2020. The district attorney's office has issued multiple arrest warrants for Senior Corporal Ryan Mabry and former Senior Corporal Melvin Williams. Williams was fired over an unrelated excessive forces accusation. There are charges such as aggravated assault and official oppression, which will be presented to a grand jury for consideration. They're accused of using what was called less lethal projectiles, which together injured several protesters. One man lost an eye and 7 teeth. The projectiles were fired from 40mm launchers. Their attorneys say they will turn themselves in.
The K-9's Joker Law proposal, which revises the offense of knowingly and unlawfully killing a law enforcement animal, made it through the Criminal Justice Committee at Tennessee State Capitol Wednesday. This is one of the first steps in making the law a reality. Representative Bud Husley of Kingsport did raise concerns with the bill, however. He noted that depending on circumstances, if someone was to both injure a police dog and an officer, they could face a harsher penalty for injuring the dog. The example Rep. Husley presented was if someone injures a police dog, it's a Class B felony. If someone was to also injure the officer again, depending on the circumstance, it could be a Class C felony. This would ultimately mean the penalty for hurting the dog is worse.
Dolly Parton's Dollywood is offering free tuition to its employees. The theme park and resort company says it will cover 100% of tuition, fees, and books for all seasonal, part-time, and full-time workers, starting February 24th. The employee education program, called Grow You, was piloted by Hershins Enterprises, Dolly Parton's operating partner in Dollywood. Employees are eligible to enroll in the program on their first day of employment.
Fast food is getting more expensive. Tuesday, Chipotle reported a typical order from them cost about 10% more than it did 1 year ago. McDonald's increased its menu prices about 6% last year, and Starbucks hiked its prices once in October and then again in January. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics report food away from home got about 6% more expensive in 2021, and experts say that trend will continue this year. They blame the rising costs partly on the increases in restaurant wages, costs of ingredients, and transportation expenses.
We are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube through our channel BCHS VOX News.
You will also find more online at our website, voxnews.net.
Remind your friends to like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
Just cannot get enough of Vox.
That is all we have for you today from Studio H12 at Bradley Central.
And as always,
God bless and go Bears.